Bishop as the next frontline shield tank makes so much sense for him to be the next character added into Marvel Rivals. Energy absorption, he can use his own gadgets and stuff like that. I think this should be the next shield tank in the game. Now remember, this is all fan made. This was made by Clevens. We already did Cyclops, and we're going to be doing Sinister next as well. So let me know what kind of villains you or characters that you want to see in this game, and we'll try to do that for you. All right, let's go over Bishop's abilities. All right, so for your primary attacks, you're going to have the plasma shotgun and you're going to have the kinetic railgun. So for the plasma shotgun, you're going to fire a burst of charged plasma pellets while in overdrive state, and the pellets consume siphon energy and gains pierce on hit. Pierce just means like going through shields and things like that. So you're gonna have pierce damage. It's not gonna do as much damage as if you would if you didn't have a shield, but it would still go through the shield. Next, which is very interesting, you're going to have a kinetic railgun ability. Now, if you know what a railgun is, that's really good for long range and it does a lot of damage. So you're going to be able to charge and release a high velocity of kinetic beams that pierce on hit as well, and you harm enemies through the ability barriers and your health over shields. And if you hold to increase the damage based on the charging time, your movement speed gets reduced while charging. So the more you charge up, the more energy you have to charge the railgun or whatever, you're going to be moving a lot slower, but it will still do a decent amount of damage. And if you guys know about Bishop, like he's the energy absorber, he's able to take on a lot of damage, he's able to release that energy back. The harder he gets hit, the more damage he could do. That's why I think this is a really good option for like a front line tank in this game, and then he could use his gadgets and stuff to make shields. I think that's the most realistic thing imaginable. So for his two passives, we have the kinetic siphon and then we have the 450. I think that's how you pronounce it. Look at the art on these like label designs and stuff as well, like extremely well. So for the kinetic siphon passive, you're going to be able to absorb incoming damage and convert it into siphon energy. But here's the thing, at 50% charge, you will have effectiveness over every CC ability in this game. So crowd control effect, if you don't know what CC is. And we know how like this is literally called CC Rivals at this point in time. There is a million things to get CC'd by in this game. So we talked about what you can get at 50% energy. So if we get to 80% energy, you get into something called a overdrive state to turn kinetic beams into overdrive beams instead. When you get to 100% energy, when the meter is already all the way filled, you can get into something called a molecule burn. And the molecule burn does damage to you and nearby enemies over time while disabling your damage energy absorption. So you won't be able to take on energy no more because you're at your max limit, but not only will you hurt yourself, you'll hurt others around you as well. I think that's a fair trade. This kind of reminds me of like Doctor Strange's dark magic ability. When he has too much dark magic, he has to release it, and if he doesn't release it, he's not able to get healed. But when you do release it, it does a lot of damage to the other team. Now for your next passive, is going to be called 450. We haven't talked about the barriers and stuff like that, so I'm going to make it make sense like in a little bit. But you will basically have a melee attack that also produces kinetic energy. At 30% siphon energy, you will have melee attacks that can fire a kinetic beam from a distance. It won't be as long as a distance as your kinetic railgun or like your plasma shotgun even. It'll probably be somewhere in the middle. But you have to get a certain amount of charge of enemy taken to be able to do the melee ability. I think that's also a fair trade as well. The team up ability will be able to be used by Colossus, but we're not going to go over the shield stuff yet, so we'll go over that last. Your ultimate ability is going to be called Redline Breakpoint, and this ability is just absolutely broken. So you're going to be able to holster your weapon and expand siphon energy capacity beyond the limit. You are going to become unstoppable. And he told me to paraphrase this by saying that you won't be able to get CC'd while you're doing your ultimate. Very similar to how Hulk is now, even though he's still able to get frozen and stuff like that, that won't be able to be a thing as well. All incoming damage is absorbed at 100% efficiency, so that means max meter for 5 seconds. After your absorption, you can discharge all siphon energy, firing continuous kinetic beams from both fists that you use for your melee kinetic ability and your weapons that pierce enemies and destroys any type of terrain. So you can choose between using this ability with your melees, or you can choose using this ability with your guns and your weapons as well. So let's go to the 2 shield options that he has, because it's not just like you hold up a shield and things like that. You can bounce your energy off of it, all type of stuff. It's really cool. So your E, your Dreadnought Shell, that's going to be your first shield ability. But as you know, Bishop is able to use gadgets and stuff like that, so that's why this is really creative. So you could throw a grenade to deploy a dome, and it's going to be called the XSE barrier, and that blocks incoming damage. But not only does it block damage, you can strike the dome with the overdrive beam that you have, and you can grant the barrier to have reflection for 4 seconds. The reflected damage is also absorbed by the siphon by Bishop if it does hit Bishop, and siphon energy consumed is 20 per kinetic beam. So you could throw this grenade down, it will block incoming damage, but with Bishop, you could also shoot at it, it will reflect, it can hit others, and it can also reflect back and hit Bishop and get in charge's energy meter. And your right click, the last shield option is going to be called the Omega Bulwark. So now you can channel its energy into the Gauntlet device and project a frontal XSE barrier. This is going to be another gauntlet Bishop has. He's going to be able to throw up another shield. But for this barrier, you'll be able to release it and slam it into the ground as a stationary wall. We all know what a barrier is, kind of like a barricade when they set it up into the ground and it's not being able to move. So again, you can shoot this barrier with your kinetic beam and you can gain health boost from it. And you could also strike this beam to be able to move it forward while it is still in the ground. Now with the Omega Bulwark, if you shoot it enough and you gain enough kinetic energy, this barrier turns heated and it will do damage to people passing through this barrier over time. Now we went over the shield barriers and things like that. It makes a lot more sense for Colossus because Colossus can shove the planted Omega Bulwark forward, expanding its coverage. While he's doing the team up and he's moving the barrier, anybody that gets hit, they basically slow down and they lose their movement speed. I am a huge fan of Bishop. He's truly one of my favorite X-Men of all time. He's one of the ones that I really wanted to be in this game as a frontline tank. And I feel like we really needed like an energy absorption person, you know what I'm saying? The first one we did get is Rogue. She has a cool concept where she's able to throw like her shield thing and all the projectiles and stuff like goes towards her. But Bishop is the first character that'll be able to use it on others. You get what I'm saying? That's why I think he'll be such a cool character just to add into this game. Like he'll have a shotgun, he'll have a railgun that can go through shields, damage come at him and stuff like that. It will fill up his meter, so you have to still be strategic. His ultimate kind of being like a one-shot ultimate, being able to release all the energy stuff. The beam goes right back down to zero and stuff. I think this is a really cool concept idea. Like I said, Cyclops will be the next character that does come out, and I'm telling you right now, his kit is so like complex and detailed. He's a really fun character the way they described it in his format. So please stay tuned for that. We do have Sinister in the files as well that we are working on, but please comment and let me know any other character that you want to see us do, and I promise we'll try to get creative and figure this out. And if you are here and you're not only interested in Marvel Rival stuff, I am going to be doing a Life is Strange Let's Play as well. That's going to be coming out next week. So if you are new here, I appreciate it. Please subscribe. If you're watching, please like the video. Use the new hype feature if possible. Follow me on all my other social platforms as well, but I appreciate the love and support, guys. Thank you.